the last, I think this is a really a critical challenge as we go towards making further progress in reducing poverty, enhancing economic growth. I think that is where we will have the biggest challenge. Therefore, I think we have to really look at what are the practices in terms of really going to the last mile. And then many a time, I think it came very strongly, data. I mean, we heard the proliferation of, and too many, the indicators and data is a big challenge. We all know that. Then the quality of data, it also came. And then how to really use that data to really change the policies. And I think there has to be a very good connection between all these issues, taking data, having a good quality data, but then again translating that into the policies. This is where. And the monitoring and evaluation, we have heard a lot about that. And there were a couple of examples from India as well. And there were others, I think, that is also coming. And we would like to really take it forward. And then the global partnership. We have heard all the time here that national leadership and ownership is critical. At the end of the day, it is the nation itself that has to take a development process forward. But we live in a real world, and the international order, the way it frames the global international connection, the trade, the ODA, the resources, technology that we talk about has a lot to do with the global international development, global international framework. So if the global partnership is not forthcoming, it will be impossible. We really live in a highly integrated and the interconnected globalized world. Of course, there is a paralysis of this multilateral, the trading system. That is a major concern. The unilateralism is a major concern. Multilateralism needs to be promoted, but we also really need to continue to really work on how do we make the world more just and more inclusive. I think this is the message that we are also getting from everyone. How do we get the resources? What type of resources, the private resources, the public resources, are they really fulfilling the commitment that they have made at the international level? I think we have heard a lot about that. There are many sessions that we will be talking in detail about that. But I would say that the regional cooperation, there was also a question about just 5 to 6% of trade. I think this is where we really lack. There are many areas, connectivity, trade, energy. These are some of the, and many of the practices that we talk about here. There are so many good practices that we can learn from each other. There are so many pitfalls that we can avoid through the experiences of others. So there is both ways that we can really take the regional practices as well as the regional cooperation. And finally, I'm sure that this presentation has provided us very important input for the next couple of sessions. I'm sorry that I couldn't take on everyone's question, but this is a beginning, and I'm sure that we take it. I hope that, I thank once again the ISCAP for organizing it. I'm sure that South Asia has a lot to show to the world in the next quadrennial review. This is the first quadrennial review that is taking place in New York 2019, and I'm sure that we have heard all the time so much of the SDG is at stake here in South Asia, but globally also. If we talk about global transformation, it cannot happen without South Asia. That is what we have heard. It has taken a lead role, but it has to be really go to the ultimate objective of achieving SDGs by 2030. Thank you very much, and thank all the panelists for their contribution. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, panelists, and thank you, Ambassador. There are some short announcements, so please bear with us. The first announcement is the lunch is outside, but don't leave any of your bags here. You need to take it out because we'll close the room because the sitting of the room has to be changed for the next session. So we'll put the round table, so you please take all your belongings outside. The second is those presenters whose PowerPoint has been given to us is fine, but those who have made oral presentations, we would be grateful if you can give your write-ups so that we properly reflect in the report and we don't do anything not less reporting. And we'll assemble back here as per the program at 2:30. But I would request the subsequent sessions moderators sorry, and the chairs to come to this room around 1:25 for 10 minutes. We'll discuss. Our colleagues would be there. 2:25, sorry, 2:25 and come back. Thank you very much.
We'll not move backwards in time. We can't move backwards in time.
Good afternoon, welcome back. We are going to start now shortly. We hope all of you received the questionnaire and you have filled it in, but those who have not given, please hand it over to Crispin or his team? Raju ji, can you close this door? Raju, बंद करवा दीजिए दरवाजा. So may I now take this opportunity to start for the session 4. Let me take this privilege of first of all calling Ms. Reena Rai, Secretary, Department of School Education and Literacy, Ministry of Human Resources and Development. Ma'am. May I also invite Professor Amitabh Kundu, Distinguished Fellow RIS, on the dais, please. Professor Kundu. Sir, please. Can I invite the panelists? First, Dr. Devpriya Bhattacharya, Distinguished Fellow, Center for Policy Dialogue, Dhaka. Dr. Ashok Jain, Principal Chief Conservator of Forests, Government of Telangana, and formerly Advisor Niti Aayog. And Dr. Avilaksh Likhi, Principal Secretary, Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Department, Government of Haryana. Is Dr. Likhi around? I think, yeah, he's not here. So anyhow, we'll start the program. So I give the floor to the chair, Madam Reena Rai. You have the floor, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me to this workshop today. I haven't had the privilege of participating in the deliberations, so to some extent I'm quite clueless, but that also makes it much more exciting for me because I'm looking forward to the deliberations of each of the working groups that you had constituted. So I have been told basically to say a couple of comments and then hand it over to Dr. Kundu, who will then invite each one of the groups to give their presentation. There'll be a panel discussion, and like every intelligent woman, I will have the last word, or a couple of words actually. So thank you very much again. I am familiar, of course, with my own area, which is school education. But my first reaction when I saw the combination of SDGs which we are discussing is, well, it's absolutely quite fascinating. We've got school education, we've got employment, we've got climate change, we've got justice. So I'm told that these are the ones which will be discussed at the high-powered level committee meeting next year. So this actually all makes towards a rather interesting concoction of subjects and issues which is quite unusual. It's also a privilege for me to be in my first ESCAP meeting. I've participated in many UNESCO and UNICEF, but never in ESCAP, so I'm looking forward to that. So Dr. Kundu, I'm transferring this to you for inviting all of the groups to give their presentations. Thank you.
Madam Chair, fellow panelists, distinguished participants of this very important sub-regional consultation. The importance of this sub-regional consultation as a part of the Asia-Pacific Sustainable Development Forum to really provide key inputs to the high-level political forum, which will then carry forward this to ECOSOC and to the General Assembly, as you all know, and it is also discussed in some detail in the inaugural session, and all of us are well familiar with that. In the present session, we'll be listening to the moderators which were appointed for different SDG goals. We'll be listening to them. I was part of one. And we saw how different countries have tried to map the SDG goals into their national policies, what has been their performances, their success stories, the challenges, and also they were talking a little bit about the perspective of future development. And certainly, we're waiting for that. I was very impressed by the rich database and the indicator set that have been generated for this purpose. I just thought I'll mention 2 points, taking advantage of this moderator's position, before I invite the panelists to report. In the inaugural session, Dr. Nagesh Kumar, Professor Chaturvedi, and also Dr. Rajiv Kumar did mention that in the meeting of the Millennium Development Goals, particularly the first and the second one, poverty and hunger, South Asian contribution was significant. And in the context of SDG also, the first one, certainly the contribution of South Asia would be very, very significant. And in fact, the world will not attain the SDG goals unless the South Asia succeeds. Now, we know that when we move from economic inequality, poverty, to social dimensions, education, to empowerment, inclusiveness and, and equality, challenges are far more than just reducing poverty at the macro level. And we know that the high-level political forum now is focusing on education, on inequality, on empowerment, on employment generation. So challenges are certainly far more significant. And I just thought I'll quickly mention, I just looked at the inequality using the data from the inequality adjusted poverty measurement by Human Development Report. You get the inequality figures and also the level of human development in 3 different dimensions. What is very interesting is that as far as the developed countries are concerned, income inequality is high, about 34%, I'm talking about coefficient of variation. But education and health inequality, which reflect the structural factors, inequality are much less. But the moment you go to the middle level and the lower level countries, where most of the South Asian countries fall in, you find income inequality slightly higher, but educational and health inequalities, social inequalities are 3-4 times more. So therefore the challenge in this high-level political forum, when we are analyzing the social dimension, social inequality, empowerment, challenge is going to be very, very significant, and I think we should be prepared for that. The second quick point I would just mention, that, in the HLPF 2018, last year, one key concern that was raised is that power of the mandate was not there. This is what mandate comes up through the interministerial announcement. There's not power of mandate, and how do you bring that power of mandate? And I was wondering, when Dr. Rajiv Kumar mentioned that can we measure level of SDG performance at the country level or at the subnational level? That can become an instrument of monitoring, not necessarily for controlling and mandating, but certainly that could be an important thing, because I know that many of the manifestations of HDB and SDG and achievement performances are not strictly quantifiable. But particularly when I was looking at the database that has been prepared as presented by different country representatives, I think an attempt should be made to bring out some kind of a comparable index. He talked about a matrix. I think large matrix may not be possible, but certainly some kind of an index of SDG performance at the national level and subnational level seems to be one way of really putting in some kind of a power in the mandate, saying that, look, your ranking is this, you're not improving. I think that would be a very important area of investigation which we should explore. I think I have taken much more time than I should have, and I'm so happy, madam, that you have relieved me of speaking the last word, which will be done by you. May I now invite the moderators to report. We'll go by the sequence of the SDGs. Dr. N. Narvana Kumar, Joint Secretary. Sarvana Kumar. Oh, sorry, this is slightly. My apologies. Dr. Sarvana Kumar, Joint Secretary, ICC, Human Resource Development. My apologies again.
Madam Reena Ray and esteemed dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. In this South Asia Forum on Sustainable Development Goals, in our plenary discussion, in our panel, basically, along with me, Mr. Shailendra Sigdal, the Statistical Advisor for South Asia, Mr. Ramakant Roy, Convener, National Coalition on Education, Miss Telini Nimesha Mendis, Assistant Director General, Department of Planning, Sri Lanka, and many other members representing various stakeholders, they were there. So we had almost 1.5 hour discussion, and finally we agreed upon certain issues which indicate the current status of SDG 4 in South Asia, and also what we need to do, as a national initiative and also as a regional cooperation initiative, what exactly we should be looking at, that we decided. To start with, the education SDG 4 deals with education 2030, so which is primarily to look at the inclusive and equitable quality education and lifelong learning opportunities for all. So as we are all aware,